Well, I will be discussing about abnormal vaginal discharge, the guideline for management for a gynecologist. Well, vaginal discharge is a fluid produced by the glands in the vaginal wall and cervix that drain from the opening of the vagina. The amount and appearance of normal vaginal discharge varies throughout the menstrual cycle, that we all know. But an increased quantity of discharge from vaginal orifice accompanied by discomfort, pain, itching, or malodor for which the patient seeks treatment characterizes what we call as abnormal vaginal discharge. A large number of cases may also be asymptomatic or may have only minimal symptoms. So the prevalence in our country, it is not exactly known, as majority of the patients do not seek any treatment at all. And most women will have vaginal infection. Characterization use the OTC medication as well as an alternative medicine and never report to any of our STD clinic or RTI clinic. Well, the three diseases most frequently associated with abnormal vaginal discharge are bacterial vaginosis. The most prevalent cause of vaginal discharge are malodor. However, most women with bacterial vaginosis are asymptomatic. The second most common is trichomoniasis, and third is vulvovaginal candidiasis. Bacterial vaginosis is a polymicrobial clinical syndrome resulting from replacement of normal hydrogen peroxide producing lactobacillus in the vagina with high concentration of anaerobic bacteria. Well, the vaginal discharge of the patient with bacterial vaginosis has a characteristic fishy odor due to increased activity of anaerobic species. Addition of potassium hydroxide will augment, which is called as the sniff test. On the contrary, trichomoniasis is a copious yellow, green, or gray frothy discharge adherent to the vaginal wall with foul odor. And there will be vulvovaginal erythema, there will be punctate cervical microhemorrhages, in 25% of cases, what is called as strawberry cervix. Saline smear in 80% patient, which is highly sensitive and specific, will reveal motile. So I was discussing that
your audio is not clear. Hara, your audio is not clear. Hara, your audio is not clear.
Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on, sir.
So this is a classification of vulvovaginal candidiasis. Either it is uncomplicated or complicated. Uncomplicated vulvovaginal candidiasis is sporadic or infrequent vulvovaginal candidiasis. We call it mild to moderate VVC, or likely to be caused by Candida albicans, or we say that it is in a non-immunocompromised woman. Whereas complicated bacterial BVC is recurrent vulvovaginal candidiasis, what we call as RVVC. There is severe vulvovaginal candidiasis, or it is non-albican candidiasis, and women really suffer with uncontrolled diabetes, debilitation, or immunosuppression, or those who are pregnant. And see, uncomplicated and complicated, that I have already discussed. So if you compare the three group of bacterial vaginosis, vulvovaginal candidiasis, trichomoniasis, symptom wise, In bacterial vaginosis, there will be very mild pruritus, but there will be profuse discharge. But in candidiasis, there will be severe pruritus with burning sensation, and trichomoniasis, there will be profuse discharge with mild pruritus. And feature of discharge, as I have already told, in bacterial vaginosis, it will be whitish, milky, and fishy odor. Candidiasis is a thick, cheesy or coddy, and trichomoniasis is frothy, thin, and purulent. Vaginal mucosa will be normal in bacterial vaginosis, edematous and inflamed in candidiasis, and edematous inflamed with petechia in trichomoniasis. Vaginal pH will be more than 4.5 in BV. In candidiasis will be less than 4.5, and trichomoniasis is usually more than 5. Whip test is characteristics of bacterial vaginosis, and you will get clue cell with less number of WBC in microscopy examination, whereas whip test will be negative in both candidiasis and trichomoniasis. So I will come to the guideline. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India has issued the standard treatment guideline for abnormal vaginal discharge with the following major recommendation. So this is the guideline. So before that, you should do a differential diagnosis to assess a patient with vaginal discharge, rule out cervicitis, PID or pelvic infant disease, gynecological causes like fistula, prolapse, obstetric causes, if there is any mechanical, chemical or allergic condition, or even discharge because of copper T, and you must counsel all your patients for preventive aspect. General measures are applicable to all patients with suspected STI. Educate and counsel the patient and the sex partner regarding RTI and STI, like genital cancer, safer sex practice, importance of taking complete treatment. Most of our patients do not complete their treatment. Always treat the partner in suspected organism. Advise sexual abstinence during course of treatment to minimize transmission. Promote the use of barrier contraception like condoms. Educate about correct and consistent use. Refer to voluntary counseling and testing for HIV, syphilis, hepatitis B. Consider immunization against hepatitis B, and schedule return visit after 7 days to ensure the treatment compliance, as well as to see the reports of tests done. If symptoms persist, assess whether it is due to the treatment failure or reinfection, and advise patient for prompt removal. So the diagnostic criteria, we have divided that the situation 1 and situation 2. The first, in a secondary hospital, the non-metro situation where optimal standards of treatment situation and technology and resources are available. The clinical diagnosis, a careful history, examination, laboratory testing are warranted to determine the cause. The history should include information on sexual behavior and practice, menstrual cycle, vaginal hygiene practice, and other medication. Examination to assess the color, odor, amount of discharge, whether profuse or scanty, character, whether it is coddy or thin, and associated with vulval abrasion or erosion, urethral metal discharge, and presence and absence of foreign body or IUD, what I have already told. See the 3 clear cut. Speculum examination, you get a white homogeneous discharge, uniformly adherent to the you will be in bacterial vagina. Rod-like discharge seen in candidiasis, and greenish frothy discharge seen in trichomoniasis. So the investigation, vaginal discharge pH you have to do, potassium hydroxide test, weight mount, gram stain, culture for the yeast, and identifying the candida by culture. And the treatment is recommended for symptomatic women to relieve vaginal signs and symptoms. Other potential benefit are reduction in the risk of cervicitis causing organism, HIV, and other STD. So if it is vaginitis, whether it is TB or bacterial vaginosis, treatment is echinidazole 2 gram orally single dose, or with metoclopropamide 30 minutes earlier to prevent gastric irritation. Or in case you can give tinidazole 500 milligram orally twice daily for 5 days, plus fluconazole 150 milligram orally a single dose, or cotrimazole 500 milligram vaginal patiently. These are the, if there is cervicitis, refer to relevant, and tests for both if there is vaginitis and cervicitis. Advise after treatment. Schedule return visit after 7 days. Instruct the client to avoid douching. Pregnancy, diabetes, HIV may also be influencing factor to be considered for recurrent infection. See, the management of sex partner is very important. Routine treatment of sex partner is not recommended in all cases with BBC or bacterial vaginosis. Treat the current partner only if there is no improvement after initial treatment. If the partner is symptomatic, treat the patient and the partner using above protocol. Advise sexual abstinence during the course of treatment. Provide condom, which I have already told. And for patient with candidiasis, a minority of male sex partner might have balanitis and the benefit from treatment with topical antifungal agent. So, alternative regimen for trichomoniasis and vaginosis, metronidazole 2 gram orally in a single dose, or metronidazole 500 milligram orally twice daily for 7 days, or tinidazole 2 gram orally once daily for 3 days, or tinidazole 1 gram orally once daily for 5 days, or clindamycin 200 milligram orally twice daily for 7 days. This is Government of India guideline. And for candidiasis, anyone, miconazole 2% cream 5 gram intravaginally for 7 days, or potrimazole 1% cream 5 gram intravaginally for 7 to 14 days. So special consideration like complicated candidiasis, like recurrent vulvovaginal candidiasis, which I have already told is RBBC, or severe candidiasis, non-albicans candidiasis and compromised host, and pregnancy. These are special situations. And recurrent vulvovaginal candidiasis characterized by 4 or more episodes of symptomatic candidiasis in 1 year. Mostly, there are no apparent predisposing or underlying condition, and for management, investigation is a must. Vaginal culture need to be drawn, and treatment to maintain the clinical and mycologic control. Initial therapy, a longer duration recommended therapy to attempt mycological remission. So this is 7 to 14 days of topical therapy. 100 milligram or 150 milligram oral dose of fluconazole every third day for a total of 3 doses, 1, 4 and day 7. Maintenance regime, oral fluconazole 100 or 150 or 200 dose weekly for 6 months, and susceptible testing is not recommended. Severe VVC characterized by extensive bulbar erythema or edema or excoriation and fissure formation. Patient treated with short course of topical or oral therapy are associated with lower clinical response rate. The treatment is for 7 to 14 days of topical azole or 150 milligram of fluconazole in 2 sequential doses. Second dose should start 72 hours after the initial dose. So non-albicans candidiasis, optimal treatment option remain unknown. The treatment option are longer duration of therapy with a non-fluconazole azole drug, either oral or topical, as first line of therapy. But if recurrence occur, consider giving her 600 milligram of boric acid in a gelatin capsule administered vaginally once daily for 2 weeks. In a compromised host, which includes women underlying debilitating condition who do not respond well. So the first is that correct the modifiable condition, prolong conventional antimycotic treatment for 7 to 14 days indicated. In a pregnant woman, in the first trimester of pregnancy, local treatment with cotrimazole vaginal pessary, oral fluconazole, as you know, is contraindicated in first trimester. Metronidazole cannot be given orally, but pessaries or cream intravaginally if trichomoniasis or vaginosis is considered. In second trimester or third trimester, you can give oral metronidazole 500 milligram orally twice daily for 7 days, or 250 milligram thrice daily for 7 days, or secnidazole 2 gram orally in a single dose, or tinidazole 500 milligram orally twice daily for 5 days. These are all options available to the gynecologist who can treat them either metronidazole or secnidazole or tinidazole as per his convenience and patient's compliance. In HIV infection, HIV positive women screening for trichomoniasis at entry into the care with subsequent screening at least annually is recommended. Rescreening 3 months after completion of therapy should be considered among HIV positive women with trichomoniasis. Multi-dose treatment regimen to be considered in HIV infected women. Single dose is never effective, but therapy for vulvovaginal candidiasis in HIV infected women remains the same. Long-term prophylactic therapy with fluconazole 200 mg weekly recommended for recurrent VVC with HIV. Occurrence of recurrent vulvovaginal candidiasis should not be considered as an indication for HIV testing. So the second situation is that if you have facility or a tertiary care center with all available amenities for culture, the clinical diagnosis will be same, but in addition, you can do the following tests can be available for Trichomonas vaginalis. You can do a culture of Trichomonas vaginalis. For bacterial vaginosis, you can DNA probe-based test. For other causes, you can do a PCR assay for detection of gonorrhea or chlamydial infection. But the treatment will always be same and above. So NHS guideline, this is the treatment summary which I have already told. The NHS guideline has given it in a concise manner. You can go through it subsequently when I am sharing it with all you. And this is the flow chart for diagnosis of Candida, for bacterial vaginosis, for trichomoniasis by symptom and sign in an adult woman. And I'm not going to the detail. So I will like to give you that, say you in the end that Candida infection is probably overdiagnosed, whereas bacterial vaginosis is probably underdiagnosed. That is for sure. Second thing is that trichomoniasis is uncommon, but when found, is often associated with other sexually transmitted infection. Women with persistent or recurrent vaginal or vulval symptom should be examined and investigated. Whilst vaginal discharge is not itself an indication for chlamydia testing, all sexually active women under the age 25 should be offered chlamydia screening. A high vaginal swab cannot be used to diagnose gonococcal infection. A cervical swab is required, but referral to a sexual health clinic would be preferable. There is no evidence that oral treatment of candidiasis is more effective than topical treatment. Pregnancy is not a contraindication to oral metronidazole 400 mg BD for treatment at least in second trimester or third trimester. And so I will conclude by saying that abnormal vaginal discharge is a common complaint among women in all age groups. And all gynecologists are bothered day in and day out when a patient comes to them with leukorrhea, which is never cured, and they consult doctor, gynecology after gynecology for this simple problem of theirs. Bacterial vaginosis, trichomoniasis, and vulvovaginal candidiasis are the three main causes of abnormal vaginal discharge. Many women remain asymptomatic throughout their childbearing period, and many of them also buy OTC product looking at the social media or TV or things like that for self-medication, and many suffer in silence. That you must know. But detailed examination, correct diagnosis, proper medication, and completion of therapy will go a long way in curing these women and giving them a better quality of life. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patient hearing.